Thank you, Sarah. Most times when I get awards, people tend to think, oh, you've received the Nobel Peace Prize. What else? And I say, no. Every medal or every award is special in a special way. It's unique in a unique way. It is a reminder for me that there's so much more to be done and you can't quit, but it's also humbling for people to continuously recognize you for the little things you do. I would like to say thank you first to Sarah, but also that I'm on this panel with amazing women. I will embarrass myself by telling a story just because you're here, Diana. So I haven't gone to swim in like almost 20 years. And I have these two daughters. One is 20 and the other 16. That I would say they're jealous of me. We went to the store and they told me, Mama, that bathing suit has your name all over it. And I said, really? But you know, I've added some pounds and I don't, no, you will look exclusive in it. And you know, the hotel we're staying in, there's a pool, so you can take a swim. So I bought the suit. Those two young, evil girls sat by the pool, just smiling. And my husband is in the pool looking at me, smiling. And my 4-year-old at the time has all of the things, the floaters on. And I came out and they're like, hoo-hoo, mama. And I jumped straight in that pool and sunk like a big rock. Fighting for my life. And when I look up, I'll see my husband smiling. And my daughters, they're like, gosh, we forgot our camera. And this poor baby with her floater came and held my hand and saved my life. That night, we will go back into the hotel room, and she's just gorging on candy. And I shouted, stop. And she looked at me and said, Mama, you're shouting at me? Remember, I just saved your life? For weeks, I would be tortured with that, and I decided to go and learn to swim. The day I went to register, I came home, and she said, Mama, did you register? I said, yes. So which class are you? I said, you can't tell anyone this, okay? No. I said, beginners. Oh, you mean you are the pre-K of swimming? So I have so much respect for you. I watched you because I know how difficult it is. Nothing like activism, trust me. By the way, I'm still pre-K of swimming. I'd like to recognize my husband, Jay, who is brave enough to have married me this year after years of courtship. Jay is here with... And the African women who knows me, every time they see him, they'll say, you the brave one? I would like to say thank you to the Val-Kill Meta Award Committee. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm going to cherish this. Comparing me with Eleanor Roosevelt, I don't see the comparison. I'm one African girl, and she's an all-time big shot woman. And I'm really, really happy for this award. This is special to me. I will tell 2 stories. Recently, I went to Barnard to work as a distinguished fellow in social justice. And so I'm in New York, and my worldview is African. So I walk the streets of New York with my African lens on. And sometimes I'm tempted to straighten children like we do in our communities, or tell someone, pull your skirt down a little bit, or fix something up a little bit. But I walk around with that worldview, never really doing it. One of the days I was on 21st and Broadway, and these 3 black boys were looking at this. I just saw them, and the mother in me said they were up to something. And so I stopped, forgot about where I was going, and just watched them. They went into a nail salon and came out with a pair of flip-flops, and I was watching them. They walk over on the side of the road. There was this old white man bent over, and I'd never noticed him but the boys. And he was struggling to walk. And these boys had noticed that his flip-flop were broken. So these 3 black boys walked up to him and handed him a brand new pair of flip-flops. He didn't want to take it from them, but he had stopped. And they kept saying, so the other one said, well, he doesn't want it, so let's put it in a garbage bin. And I walked up to them and said, just put it next to him and leave it there. And they put it next to him. And as they were walking away, I said, come on here and give your auntie a hug. So I hugged the 3 of these boys. And the one who actually paid for the flip-flop, according to his friends, I told him, when you get home, tell your mother she's done a great job. And this is from her African sister. There is a quote from Eleanor Roosevelt that says, do one thing every day that scares you. I have twisted that quote around because of the world that we find ourselves living in. And I say, do one thing every day that everyone else is scared to do. When you talk about women's rights and human rights and social justice issue, it is so not the in thing. No one wants to talk about family planning and reproductive health. No one wants to talk about sexual violence. No one wants to talk about the girls that have been adopted and the political situation that had contributed to it. No one wants to step on people's toes. Everyone wants to be in a safe space politically. And I find myself, like Eleanor Roosevelt, sometimes being the person in the space to do things like those little black boys, doing what everyone else is afraid to do, making men uncomfortable, making Ban Ki-moon uncomfortable, taking pleasure in not taking pictures with heads of states because they've said something or have a policy that doesn't protect the rights of women and girls. Because that is what I think will change the world. If those 3 black young men had been afraid to go to that white man, and as they left, the part of the story I don't tell you, or is that I stood there watching and asked myself, you also passed by this man. How come you didn't notice him? Because I had passed earlier on. And then I watched white, black, Chinese, Asian pass by him also. Why those 3 young men? Because the 3 of them were willing to do something that everyone else was scared to do. Over the last few years, since I won the Nobel Peace Prize, I've been working with young girls, finding schools for them. And thank you, Vassar. You've given us 2 scholarships, and we're fighting to fill those scholarships with girls from Liberia. Hopefully, we'll get them in this year. And recently, I'm sure everyone has heard the news about the Ebola virus. And my team in New York and my team in Monrovia have been trying to get me away from everything that I do because they say I'm doing too much. I sat in my living room a week ago, and read a story about 4 young children in Liberia who had lost their parents as a result of the Ebola virus. 17, 14, 13, and 11 years old. So the 17-year-old has become the parent. And I realized that something has to be done. So I called my assistant, Hafiza, and said, Hafiza, we need to find these children. She said, oh, Lord. You read a story, and we have to find these children in Monrovia. I said, today, we will find them. Madam Bowie, do you know what you're asking me to do? I said, I'm asking you to do what no one else wants to do. Let's find these children. So we tried, and I called Monrovia. I have this one woman in Monrovia that I call my foot soldier. And by the time I said, I need you to find 4 children in so-and-so community, she said, Jesus is Lord. My friend has woken up this morning. So I go back to the article on the Associated Press website, and I see the Twitter name for the reporter. I don't know how to use Twitter, so if you see anything on Twitter, I write and they put it there. So I tell Hafiza, go on her Twitter field and say the Nobel Peace Prize. Don't use that all the time, but it's very convenient. Go there and say the Nobel laureate wants to talk to you. And in 2 minutes, we get her email address. I get an email from her, and she's on the phone with Hafiza. She managed to give us a local contact for these 4 children. In 1 hour, I have these children's number or the person who could take us to them. In 24 hours, I have an SUV filled with food at their doorstep. Today, that is what I do. Look for things that everyone else is scared to do and do those things. Yesterday, we got 5 more young children whose parents had died. Father died September 17 from the virus. Mother died the 28th. 3 other siblings died, and 5 left. 17, 14, 11, and 4 months old. Tomorrow morning, we'll send 1 SUV filled with food to these children. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, not just America, our world is upside down. We need individuals who are not afraid to shake and shift the status quo to turn our world back upright. You will not be popular. You will not be invited to state dinners. But trust me, you go to bed fulfilled every night. Because if we fail to do what we're supposed to do, to leave a good word, to do the things that everyone else is scared to do, we'll leave a world that is wretched. When Eleanor becomes president, she's going to find it very difficult to fix the world. Each and every one of us, and most times I come to events, I use it as a time to rally people, must find something in our backyards, in our front yards, in our offices, in our homes and schools and communities that everyone else is scared to do, and be bold enough to do those things. You may not win this award, you may not win the Nobel, but 10 years down the road, trust me, someone will walk up to you and say, I have done this because I see what you do. I started my work in my living room with 4 girls who were hiding from sexual exploitation in my community in those days. In 2011, when I won the Nobel Peace Prize, I went back home in my community to vote. One of the little girls stepped out of the line and said, come and stand, Auntie. But every time she would look at me and smile, and I had no clue who this child was. And she said, you don't remember me anymore? I said, I'm sorry, baby. I see them in every shape and size. And then she said, I'm one of the 4 who used to frequent your living room, who you taught bodily integrity, the importance of education. I just want to tell you that I finished high school, I'm in college, and I don't have a baby. That was the ultimate Nobel Peace Prize for me. I want to say thank you again, and to each and every one in the room, including the young children. Do one thing every day that everyone is scared to do. Thank you all very much.